Spain, the country of paella and bullfighting and amazing cities like Sevilla and Salamanca and Barcelona, and an amazing history with the Moors and the integration of cultures and the discovery of the Americas with the Incas and the Aztecs, and that one rebel group who managed to defeat them in the 16th century, although I can't remember which one it was. Zeg makker. But if we look at paintings from the 80 Years' War, we see that the Spanish charging against the noble Dutch flank here aren't using the flag that we all know and love that Spain uses today. No, they're using this flag instead. So in today's video, I want to pose the question, what happened? Why did the flag of Spain change from that one which was used in the 80 Years' War and before, and to the one which is used today? Well, let's find out. For much of the Middle Ages, the north of the Iberian Peninsula was ruled over by various Christian kingdoms, while the south and shrinking area in the south was ruled over by the Muslims as they failed to fight back against La Reconquista. Each of these kingdoms had their own royal coat of arms, like the coat of arms of Castile and Leon, meaning castle and lion in Spanish, hence why there's a castle and a lion on the shield, as well as the Kingdom of Aragon, who have the red and gold stripes, which you can still see on the flag of Catalonia today. A very pivotal moment in Spanish history is the fall of the last Muslim stronghold of Granada, and the rule of Los Reyes Católicos, the Catholic monarchs. Ferdinand of Aragon and Isabella of Castile, when they married, is essentially the unification of what we now know as Spain. However, it's during their daughter's reign that we first see the appearance of this flag. And this flag has a name, and it's known in Spanish as the Cruz de Borgoña, and this in English is the Cross of Burgundy. Now, if you know where Burgundy is, you'll realise this isn't very close to Spain at all. In fact, it's the area of the various parts of the modern Low Countries today and northeastern France, and it was actually used during a time of civil war in France against another faction, the House of Valois, which was the House of Armagnac, who were more in the southwest of France. And we might know this conflict better today as the 100 Years' War, as it made part of the 100 Years' War. Of course, the other faction that was very important during that time were the English, who controlled areas in the southwest of France as well as the north of France, who sort of allied with the Burgundians and fought against the French. This is a massive simplification, but it's during this time that the Burgundians started to wear this symbol, this St. Andrew's cross, as it is named after a saint, St. Andrew, who was martyred on a cross in an X shape rather than the more usual T-shaped cross. One explanation as to why is that one of the Burgundian dukes wanted to honour Scottish soldiers who were fighting in his service, Scottish soldiers playing a large role, especially like the Earl of Mar and the Earl of Douglas, who fought in several pivotal battles in the 100 Years' War. It's in 1496 that the Cross of Burgundy most likely first comes to Spain in earnest, and this is with the marriage of Philip the Handsome of Burgundy, whose mother was also Burgundian, and then Joanna of Castile. And the marriage of these two, obviously Joanna of Castile being the daughter, or Juana in Spanish, of Isabella and Ferdinand. And so with this marriage, Philip's bodyguards started to employ the Cross of Burgundy as their symbol, also because he had now inherited territories in Burgundy, so he was displaying that he was not only of the Spanish royal house, but also in control of the lands in Burgundy as well. Throughout the 16th century, the famous Spanish troops, or the tercios, used this flag as well as another variant on a yellow background of the Cross of Burgundy, as well as then employing royal arms and other symbols in the middle to differentiate between which regiment was which. But then, how did the modern Spanish flag come about? If this is all the Cross of Burgundy, what's the origin of the red, gold, red that we know and love today? Well, in 1760, Charles III was the King of Spain, and he noticed that the Spanish were often at war with their neighbours, and he also made a very salient observation about the colour of the flags of their various neighbours. Take a look at the French flag, for example, and now take a look at the Portuguese flag, and now back at the French flag. So he noticed that they were all very white, and at sea this is a big issue because you could hardly tell if someone was friend or foe until you were right upon them. So he ordered that several flag designs be made from which he could choose to change how the flag was seen and make it easier to identify oneself at sea. And this is where we get the ancestor of the modern flag. This is actually the Merchant Navy ensign, which he created with something similar in mind, And it's also that the civil ensign became the ancestor of this flag, which of course is the modern version, and similar variations were made to the coat of arms in the flag, and these changed predominantly over the years as the Spanish monarch changed the flag, but the same design was used continuously. That is until 1931, when the monarchy was abolished and La Segunda República Española was established, and with the establishment of the Second Spanish Republic also came a new flag design, this one, and essentially this changed the bottom red stripe with a morado in Spanish, or a purple stripe, that was used to differentiate it from the monarchic past. And actually a lot of people were very much against this change, especially more traditional people, monarchists, conservatives, Catholics, etc., who continue to use the red, gold and red, which in Spanish is known as the rojigualda. In contrast, the red, gold and purple was known as el tricolor, which is the tricolour. Now, in 1936, when the Spanish nationalists rebelled with Franco and the Civil War, it's no surprise that they were using a red, gold and red version of the flag. But wait, you might say, whatever happened to the Cross of Burgundy? Well, I'll tell you. And there is actually more history to the Cross of Burgundy. A militant group called the Carlists were monarchists who wanted to reinstate the pretender Don Carlos to the throne, who had been skipped because of a controversial law, and later also his descendants throughout the 19th and early 20th century. And they actually adopted the Cross of Burgundy because of course the Bourbons had adopted the red, gold and red, and they would prefer to go back to a time when their Carlist heirs to the throne took over, and so they continue to use the Cross of Burgundy as their official badge from the 1930s. After Franco's victory in the Civil War in 1939, several additions were made of the new Spanish flag, featuring an eagle, which was a religious symbol in Spain, as well as the yugo y flechas, which was a symbol of the Spanish Falangist party, which goes back to the Catholic monarchs once again. That is until 1975 with Franco's death, and often alongside the national flag were also flown, again, the Cross of Burgundy, thanks to the support of the Carlists who had helped Franco to win, as well as the flag of El Falange Española, the Spanish fascist party, which has the yoke and arrows on there once again. Though in 1981, after 6 years of a transitional period, the flag was changed back once again to the royal ensign. Obviously the new king came in Spain, and this is the flag that has been the flag of Spain since then, without any alterations, but I guess I'll keep you posted if there are any changes. Alright everyone, so thank you very much for watching this one. This has been my video on the flag of Spain and the history of the Cross of Burgundy and how it came to Spain and became associated with Spain, and how now, even though it is still associated with Spain, the flag that we all think of for the country is of course the red, gold and red, the rojigualda, although there have been several different versions of the flag. I do actually have a video about the flags used during the Spanish Civil War by the various factions, and at this point I should have some videos out about the Spanish Civil War and the various factions that actually fought, because it does get rather confusing. So I hope you have enjoyed this one. Let me know in the comments below, give me a thumbs up if you did, and don't forget to subscribe if you're new. I've been Hilbert, and this has been The History.